Hello and welcome to another episode of Literary Liberation Podcast. Today we will be discussing, analyzing, and reviewing After the Revolution by Robert Evans. We are fundraising for the Northern Gaza Water Fund. It's going towards the flooding, so check that out in our description. For more content outside of the podcast, please check out our Instagram and TikTok at Literary Liberation and Twitter at LitLib Podcast. I'm your co-host Mariah, and you can find me at Hungry Riot on all social media platforms.
And I'm your co-host Kristen. You can find me at TensTBR on all social media platforms. And also, before we get into this episode, on the day this is releasing, yesterday we were actually just on the 2 Cents Critics podcast, and we read and reviewed They Both Die at the End by Adam Silva. So if you want to head over there and check out that episode, where we have a very long discussion, we do go over full spoilers of that book over on the 2 Cents Critics podcast, if you want to check that out.
Yes, it's really cool going on a different podcast and seeing like how it's done. So
yeah, it's so different
if you want
than
something
ours.
that's like a complete break, like I'm talking like every single plot point that you could ever think of, we did it. Which I'm impressed that we were able to extract that much from that book anyways.
Yeah,
this one is a completely different change of pace, right? We're in between like two very different types of dystopian novels.
Yeah, speculative fiction, futuristic fiction, whatever you want to call it. But this was also, we did read this over on our Fable. This is like a shouting out everything at the beginning of this episode, but we did read this on our Fable, LitLib Pod on Fable, if you want to go on there. We just did our voting for December's book, and we will be reading The Raven Scholar. Don't know who it's by. It's like Antonia Hodgkinson or something like that. Sorry, I'm not fully researched on it. But that's what we'll be doing in December. Head on over there, link below if you want to join it. Other than that, now we can finally talk about this book.
No, this is a book that was recommended to me. It's been recommended to me several times since I've been making bookish content, and it's a relatively niche book. And last month we decided to kind of go back through some of our options that we had, and this was one of the ones that was thrown into our sci-fi. I think we just did sci-fi.
Yeah, we just did sci-fi
that we were doing. And this one won by quite a large margin. And I was very surprised because it doesn't have a lot of ratings. It's relatively niche, but it's very political. Like, it is probably one of the most ideology forward, I guess, books that we have read by somebody who's like a leftist. And I thought it was really interesting that this one out of all of the other ones, because the other books were very popular, but this one, people wanted it, so here it is.
Do you think this is... I bet this is the least popular... I don't know, because I feel like Chain Gang All-Stars might have been more. Because it's... I don't know. Because this is a very different book. Well, this is probably, I'd say, the least popular book that we've read. Not on the podcast, but with the book club specifically. If that makes sense.
Yes. Hey, if you read with us, there's a little button at the bottom of the Fable that says that you can share your review whenever you write it. You should do that, because then we get an average, so we can kind of figure out like what the book was rated for our podcast. We can figure out what kinds of books to bring up that people might want to read. I was very surprised though. This one actually got some feedback, so that was cool. So far, yes, I'm curious if in the coming days we still have like a week left, I think, on the actual pod or the book club like page. So hopefully we'll get some more in. But right now it's sitting at about a 3.5, which the average book rating,
I think it'd be 3.25.
Pretty high.
Oh no, yeah, I guess that makes sense, because I think there's only been 3 of us that rated it within the whole book club, though. So it is a very skewed result as well. Like, all of us finding it kind of middling. Which is...
Yeah, I didn't know what to expect with reading this, which this came out January 1st of 2022, I believe. It has
as the official publishing.
Yes, official publishing. It was originally a serialized, or it was just a serial.
Like
It was posted in increments. I can't think of
online.
what that's called. Online.
Yeah.
I know some authors do this where they'll do like a chapter a week, and then at the very end, then it ends up getting published. Which Ruby Dixon has done this several times. I have never heard of anyone else doing this, but I thought this was really cool because if you listen to the audiobook, which is free, everything is free. You can find the book online for free from
Yes.
Robert Evans, which is really awesome in my opinion, just to have that out in the about. You don't have to like go through any of the other like internet archives. Like it's just available to read for anyone. But the
Mm-hmm.
actual audiobook is like read very well. It has sound effects. It's
And it's
cool. There
written,
is some
read.
ads.
It's
Yes,
read
and it's
by the
read by
author.
Robert, which is
Yes.
really cool. So I thought it was just a really lovely passion project. The actual book has a bunch of like art in it, which I wasn't
Yes.
expecting when I saw that. The pages on the like it sounds like I'm glazing this, but it is a really nice book. The pages are really thick and hefty. I really like the way it was constructed. I just was very impressed with this being like an indie published book and the way that it is, because
It
this
did
is
feel
his
very professional.
debut fiction novel, to my
Yes.
knowledge. I think the rest he's published has been nonfiction because he's a journalist. So, kind of cool.
Yeah. That is interesting. Well, because I feel like you can definitely kind of see the influences on being a journalist because I feel like the way that it's written, in a way, like the writing style, not that I necessarily particularly mesh well with it, but it is very articly, if that makes sense. Like the way that it's written is very like matter of factly all throughout it.
Yes, I would agree with that.
And it's very like listicle in a way. Like it feels like you're reading an article, but it's confusing because there are different perspectives within this book as well. You're following three different main characters. If you don't know anything about this book, it's basically following three different characters living in 2070 Texas, where there's basically 20-ish years before there was a revolution of some type that you kind of learn more throughout the book, and you're following these three different characters and what they're dealing with, the aftermath of that revolution and how it's affected the world today.
There was a lot of really cool things about this book with the different point of views. The It's a very diverse book. I will say
Yes.
that. I was super impressed with that. And I think it makes sense given his background and whatnot. I do think we got to talk about the controversy surrounding Robert Evans.
Yeah, because whenever you first made a TikTok post about like this being the book club book, we get a comment saying, "Hope you enjoy it, but I heard the author's like a CIA plant or something." Basically, is how we get. And
I was
we're like, awesome.
shocked. Mind you, the person that commented this is like a comrade that I know, like
Yes.
in real life. So I was like, oh no. And I did look into it, right? Because I was trying to figure out who exactly is Robert Evans, like his history. But apparently, right, so part of him being a journalist was from 2018 to 2021. He worked for a company called Bellingcat. And that is where the issue lies. It's not with all of his podcasts, which his podcasts largely are enjoyed by people that have talked about the book and enjoy it because of the content that they're delving into. There's a bunch of different ones he talks about, like the police or like different, like what was it, Behind the Bastards, and just a bunch of like assholes in history, like that
He's
they
got like a
research. Like he's
women's
got a
war
ton.
podcast.
Woman's War. He's got like one about Behind the Insurrections, which is all about fascists and whatnot. So I was very surprised when I was trying to figure out like where is the CIA plant thing, and it's with Bellingcat, which Bellingcat apparently got some funds, or at some point got funds from the National Endowment for Democracy. And that has been stated to be an arm of US imperialism. So I think that's very wary. People are saying that like some of the content that they have put out has been pushing different narratives that people on the left are very critical of. So take that. I mean, he doesn't work there anymore. I don't know whether or not that's considered being a CIA plant if he doesn't work there
Well,
anymore and if
because
he's
if it
doing the
wasn't
good work.
like
I don't know.
it's
It's
well,
very weird.
are you that's like I don't know, because it reminds me of like obviously like Starbucks is being boycotted specifically because of the strike, but like McDonald's is being boycotted, but like McDonald's isn't on strike, so then you don't like look at like the workers of McDonald's as like doing what the evil corporation is doing by like funding Israel and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, so that's like where we're sitting is just be aware that this is something that people do say. This is something that is confirmed on like the Bellingcat. I think it was I have a link to it, like 2019 to
And
or
that'll be in the
2018 to
description for
2020.
everyone.
Be in the description so you can like read through it.
And it
They
looks like he
have some
left
weird
in
things.
2021. He was not a journalist anymore, so maybe that happened. And I'd hope that maybe made him wary of working with them or working for them.
Yeah, because it didn't seem like it was anything that had to do specifically like
With him.
his being like reporting on Iraq or Ukraine or Rojava. I don't know how to say that, or like any of the other like far right extremism he has reported on through Bellingcat, but it's relevant. So
Yes,
I'm
definitely.
going to talk about that. He also talked about apparently produced content about Gamergate when that was happening, which I did not know that, and I thought that was kind of crazy. But he does a lot. He's actively posting all of these podcasts that he works with other people. I don't know shit about them, to be honest, and I also don't
We
really
didn't
know
listen
what
to
his
them.
politics are.
Yeah.
I'm assuming I'm gonna go on a limb
Left.
here. I think he's an anarchist.
I was kind of getting anarchist vibes as well from reading the book. Obviously, I'm sure Mariah like Googled as much as she could about what he said publicly about like whether or not being a Marxist, because I know that's typically what we do whenever we're looking through the artists and stuff. Like we'll look up like the author's name and then their politics and read through that stuff, or like author's name Marxist and things like that, and try to look at actual sources. But if it's not clear, I do think he's definitely on the left in some way. But at least if this was, I don't know if you read the author's note too, which we can talk about
I
later.
did. We'll talk about it probably
Maybe
towards the end because we don't want to like completely spoil it
spoil
because
it,
some of it
but
is
I do
relevant to
think that
characters.
does connect to how this shows us that he's more identifying with the politics of this book, if that makes sense to me.
Yes.
Okay, moving on. Next.
I suppose before we get into spoilers, we could just say like whether or not we recommend it.
I would say no, personally. And I think if you have a similar taste to me, I would say no. Because again, this reminded me of a comment that you said on our last episode where the average American only reads so many books a year, like less than one, right? And do I think this should be the one book an American reads this year? No. I think you'd get more use out of playing the video game Fallout or reading Dungeon Crawler Carl, because I do think this is very much, I don't know necessarily influence, but I do see a lot of similarities between the two, or even just watching the Fallout show. I think this has a lot of similarities to it, and I think the commentary on those things are much stronger than they are in this book.
Kind of feel similar. Like there's a very specific person that this is going to work for. I am not sure that I'm even that person because I mean, all
Which
of
is
this is
surprising.
telling.
Mariah usually
It's
read.
not like the politics. The issue is like the politics in this are really good. I think it's really good. I like the way it talked about it, but I don't feel like it really.
That's not
We don't
enough.
have a lot of empathy with the characters. I couldn't make any connections with the characters. And so although like the politics are really great, this is like one of those weird moments where it's like you have something that's like the will of the many or something where it's written really well, but the politics are kind of frustrating. Whereas this has really great politics, but the writing isn't good. So
Yes.
it's one of those things I still wouldn't necessarily recommend it. If you're somebody that is like a Marxist or an anarchist or a leftist, socialist, whatever the fuck you identify as, I think you should read it. I think you should read it and get
Do
inspiration
you
so that you can
think
write something similar. And maybe if you have some ideas on how to improve, because it has so much potential.
there is
and
potential there? I do
not a
agree.
standalone. There is going to be a second one at some point.
Oh.
I don't know if you heard
So
it.
do
It was
you
in the
think
audiobook. He was talking about a sequel.
Oh, I didn't. Once you
but-
finished reading the book, I turned it off. Well, because I was thinking, do you think maybe he's like a Trotskyist?
I don't know. That's the issue. Is like part of this is like
Because
I don't know what his. That's just, people. I know people don't like ideology forward, but the issue is like this book is very ideology forward. Like it's
I mean,
talking about
even
like
looking at the
a
cover,
fascist. Fuck. It's hard. Okay, we're gonna have to get into the spoilers because this is like where it starts to fall apart. So, like, if you're somebody that's pretty principled, I would love you to read this and then tell me what you think. DM me, let me know because I need more thoughts. Because even like the people that I know that have read it haven't given it like a full 5-star rating. Like my friend
Mm-hmm.
Nathan at Schizophrenic Reads also gave it a 4-star. It's kind of like it's very what it was it described as like cyber. I don't know if it's cyberpunk. It's very apocalyptic, chaotic. Goodreads had it labeled as cyberpunk, so this is just based on what people are putting in their different
Mm,
folders or whatever on Goodreads. It's very gritty. It's
yes.
definitely interesting, but
I
it
mean,
just didn't hit the mark. I wanted this to be so much more, and it wasn't. So, but I
I
did
think
like all of these highlights that I have. If you're watching the video, oh shit, I don't know if you're gonna be able to see. I have a ton of tabs. Like this is
I
all
can't see.
political references. Sorry. Um, there's a ton, but I just don't know that if I gave this to somebody that isn't principled, would they arrive to the same conclusions? I don't think this could be recommended to like like the thing is I feel like this almost could have been recommended like the book that like a conservative reads, but it felt like juvenile at times the way that the dialogue and stuff is. Like it felt like I was
Yes.
being talked down to, and I didn't like that because I was like, th-
I do think
you
like it was
just
over explaining, and that's one thing like we talked about. Like it is definitely one of those books that it tells you everything and it doesn't show you anything. Which me and Mariah, we are both autistic. We love it whenever somebody can just sit out and say it. But the way that this one sits down and says it to you, it's not very well like clearly written in a lot of ways. I feel like it's a very clunky novel. Like you're getting a lot of like pulled in almost different directions whenever you read it. The way that like this is definitely one of those books too with like the multiple point of views where somebody's point of view would pop up and I'd be like, how long until the next point of view? You know? Because I was like, I did not care about, especially like Roland, his character. Like, I understand that like the author was influenced like by himself to write that character, but he felt so lackluster to me. And it's like he tried to be funny, and it was never even funny either. Like, I read Carl and I
no
laugh,
like
and I read this and I'm like cringing.
okay, so we have to be, this is official spoilers. This is
Yeah.
official spoilers, right? Um yeah, I agree, which was really frustrating because he's like a queer black cybernetic main character. Like that's a really
Mm-hmm.
fucking cool thing to like say out loud, but then you don't really know anything that's like going on with him like this some of the stuff because it's just so in your face with and I'm gonna sound like a fucking Puritan when it's like the drugs and
Oh
stuff.
yes,
Um
I thought that was way like I understand like using drugs and everything, but this is just like using drug porn. Like it was like a like every single chapter he had, and
I need
even
my
like
methamphetamine, Xanax, MDMA, tequila sunrise. Like,
even
what?
like
Which
and
is
the
like
fact
fine, I guess.
the like not even like meta human characters, like the regular human characters are just doing all this drugs, and then it has like no effect over how they react or how like anything happens. They have this very young sheltered girl, Sasha, right? And she literally just starts doing drugs as soon as like towards the end she just shows up and starts doing drugs, and it has like no effect on how she feels, what she does, or anything like that. Like I don't understand that at all.
Like for her character, especially. Like, right, we're like getting so far ahead of ourselves because this
Yeah.
all happens when the span of like a week
Yeah,
of
it's
her
a
leaving
yes.
the American Federation, which what we're understood is like this is like the last remnants of what the United States is, and then the U.S. is split into a couple different factions, and it's between the like heavenly fascist side, which
Heavenly
is just like post
Kingdom.
fascist, heavenly kingdom, and then also you have like this walking like Howl's Moving Castle anarchist utopia where there's like people doing fairy or furry sex on a boat. I don't really know. I don't know what's going on,
And
but
they're
it's
all
like
like
they're also
chromed up. Where they have like
I don't
modifications to their
know.
body where they're all like superhumans. And then you have like the regular people that have no ideology that Manny's from. I don't even understand. Like the people in Texas, whatever they believe, they don't have clear politics in any way, you know?
It
The only clear...
I thought there was going to be more. Like the way I think Sasha's point of views were probably the more strong
That's
because
what I agree
it's
with
something
as well.
like we can kind of like people are gonna assume you because we're two white bitches talking about books online. Like, of course you're gonna relate to Sasha the white girl, but her character, I don't know why, was just so much more flushed out. Like Manny's is the second best, and then Roland's is the worst, and I don't know why. And I don't know if it's because I think Robert Evans, I think he's a white man.
I think so. I don't know for sure. I don't think he has any pictures posted like online.
A picture of him.
I think I know like he has no Goodreads profile picture or nothing. So, but I do agree with the way that like Manny and Roland's characters are written. They're written just to be like the same. Like I feel like the male characters just feel so like they don't feel well-rounded. Like I think Roland like is tried to give like to be a well-rounded character, but he's not. And Manny's just like boring. Like he doesn't really do anything. He doesn't have very strong ideology. The only thing you know he wants to do is he wants to leave the country. That's his only personality trait, is leaving the United States or whatever they call it now, because he doesn't want to be in a war-torn country. But he has family there and friends there that are all like fighting in this war, and he doesn't have empathy to help them or anything. Like he feels like a super weak character in that way. And then he's also, I don't know how old he is, but then he starts like preying on Sasha as well. She's 17 through the entirety of this book, and he's at least, I'm assuming he's supposed to be like early 20s ish, right?
Yeah, that was another weird thing.
And I was like,
the whole story of Sasha is being like groomed to go to like the Christofash place because of
the Heavenly Kingdom.
And then it turns out like, oh, it's a sister wives situation. He's just trying to rack up all of the people so he can get them pregnant, and like the whole system is like low key kind of like Handmaid's Tale, but it's not.
It's not fleshed out either.
It's not convincing. Like there's a lot happening, but it's not fleshed. Like this needed to be another. And this is another instance of a book that should have been a lot longer.
But it's crazy because I already felt like it was so long. I don't know if you felt that way too, but my digital copy was like 460 pages or something, and it felt like it was so long for like nothing to happen. Because like it's basically just like one mission, and it's like I try to think of like it's basically a heist, right? Like their idea, because we're following Manny and Roland trying to free some of the people from Rolling Fuck, which is the name of the town that the anarchist people are from. See, it's like not even funny. It's funny because it's cringe. It's not funny because it's funny.
But like it was, I had texted Kristen and I was like, you know what? It is funny because it is like a stereotype of anarchists that is like pretty accurate, which is like, this is something in my experience. I'm not shitting on anarchists right now. This is just what I've observed. It's just like having, and fuck, it's gonna sound like I'm like playing into like respectability politics or something, but I don't know what it is. But it's like this aesthetic that's like almost like punk, but it's like anarchist punk is like different than I think just regular like punk music punk. Like there's just like this vibe. Yeah. I do feel like it was pretty well encapsulated within. I can't Rolling Fuck.
Yeah, that's the name of the town.
Like the way, yeah. What was it? Skullfucker Mike?
Yes.
He keeps correcting me. Like, no, my name is Skullfucker Mike.
And they just call like.
It felt like a caricature. Like I felt like a conservative was writing this about what they thought anarchist is.
See, I
like,
feel
degree. Sometimes it was like, okay, like this is kind of like spot on. Like the way they have everything like horizontally organized and how like they distribute like goods. Like no one pays for everything. Everyone just gets like what they need.
Yeah.
And like the weird sex stuff. I was like, okay, like that's fine. That's like pretty normal. But then like it would go too over the top.
It keeps going.
It felt like too much.
See,
it felt like a little bit too much.
Put this story in Matt Dideman's hand, and it would eat. You know, and that's the unfortunate part of it.
It probably was. I think we've been spoiled because like this
would be good. I think if we didn't read Carl. Potential. I think if you haven't read Carl, then you could read this and be like, "Wow, this is something new and interesting to like the genre." But it doesn't even feel like it's doing anything new. It's just like war is bad. and let me describe to you these very intense action scenes over and over and over again. And they have
And
sex, and this guy's penis is always out. By the way, he does not, he wears assless
yeah.
chaps. It's like,
I
it
was
tries to be
so
camp, but it's not.
that's like it started out. I was like, maybe it's like camp, but I think it's like too long and too short. I don't know if the chapters about rolling fuck should have been limited to like a singular chapter, but
I
it
do think,
felt like too much all the
I,
time, and I was just like, I can't do this from a literary perspective because there's no like analysis, like no bigger
no.
analysis happening.
It's
It's
like
just stating
very,
these things.
yeah, it's like people don't even have like real opinions. Like all of our main characters, like the most opinionated character is Sasha, and it's because she's been brainwashed to join this fascist thing, and then she learns that, hey, maybe fascism's bad, and then she goes to like rolling fuck and then ends up having like no opinion on anything. And
It
I
was
do think
frustrating.
that, I think having Manny's point, I think it maybe would have been stronger if it was just like Sasha and Roland's point of view, because I don't think we needed like, because Manny and Roland get together pretty early on ish, and I just feel like it was redundant to have both of those characters' point of views one after another.
Yeah, I feel like it would have made more sense if Roland almost would have been scaled down a little bit. Like he still had like the memory loss and whatnot, like cybernetics, living in Amfed, had these connections from his past life, but then was doing like getting journalists on the ground and like moving them around. I think it would have made more sense plot wise to just keep it on those two. You could have had a lot more time like building up their
Yeah.
characters, like just between Sasha and him, and just like I think it would have worked a little bit better because Manny's character ended up being really weak. And the only thing that was like, okay, there's like kind of like a romance brewing, but then it kind of leaves you wondering like what's the point of a third point of view if you're gonna have two of them in a relationship.
No, that's the thing, is that like I feel like all, especially once all three of them are together, it like negates the purpose to me of having three different point of views, because not very often once these three are together, there's not very often that they're separated anymore. And I feel like whenever I read like Six of Crows as like a famous heist novel with multiple point of views, the reason why you want all of those perspectives is because like during the heist, then like multiple groups are breaking off and doing separate things in separate parts to work out the heist and do like the tools of it, versus like this heist is literally like all three walk into the building together, all three walk into the room together to get them, two of them walk out together, and the one of them comes back later and they all leave together again. It's like there's no reason to have these individual storylines if they're all just going to be like the same thing the whole time pretty much.
Yeah, like pretty much like it's hard to talk about because like
It's a
there's a
whole lot
lot.
of
Like I
nothing
was
happening to be honest.
yes, because like the politics, like okay, like I can like see where it's at. Like I because for a while it kind of gave like a more like the predecessor maybe to like what Parable of the Sower by or by Octavia Butler was kind of like, because I felt like I was missing some things in that book that I would have liked to see, and I thought maybe this was kind of going to fill that gap of like the political turmoil and what was happening. Like maybe this was just like it's after the revolution, but it's like, are they still having these conflicts? Why are they having these conflicts? Like what happened with this revolution? And I feel like I don't think Robert Evans even knows what happened because he's not modeling it after any sort of revolution, which I can like totally get because there hasn't been a successful revolution in an imperialist country like the United States. So I can totally understand, like, in the United States, this is why Kristen and I kind of lead a little bit third world Maoist. Sorry, just a little bit, because
Just
it
a
kind
little
of does
bit.
make sense. You need like that
Yes.
upward force, like you need that because like the United States is exploiting other countries, so it would make sense to have that too. Like it can't just be the United States. You can't have siege socialism, in my opinion, in the United States. So I can understand like to a degree like why it would be really messy. I think there would be a lot of internal conflict if you just had a revolution, you didn't have everyone on board, which is why political education is so fucking important, you know. um We're the gulags. Why are we not just
Yeah.
re-educating these fucks?
No, that's what I'm saying. Because, like, we don't know. I don't know it because we know there's, like, AMFEDs, so that's, like, the American Federation. That's, like, directly whatever happened to the people within the U.S. government. That's what happened to them. Then we have the Heavenly Kingdom people, and they're, like, the fascists that are, who knows even where they came from, just church, I guess, like, mega church people. And then we have this third group that I don't even know the name of it, the one that Manny's from, and there's no, like, set ideology for what they're fighting for or what they're even doing.
They're trying to be like the last leg of democracy, I guess, which they're kind of like positive as being neutral and almost like they're kind of good, which is weird. I don't know.
Because,
I got a really weird vibe from it, but then also there
yeah,
was like the mention of like the Mormons, like how the Mormons had split off, and then how
yeah.
different like indigenous tribes had like gotten their land back to a degree, and
And
they
then
were
there's,
doing
like, a
their own
California
things.
Republic. Like,
Yeah, what's going on? I don't know. It's really confusing.
which
It's
I
almost like Hunger
think,
Games, but it's
yeah,
not. It's like worse.
there's no world building within this where you learn, like, it's all of this stuff is all, like, passing mentions, where I feel like it almost would have been more interesting too to have the more point of views of people in these different parts of the world, or follow one specific, like, group of it and how they're fighting back to whatever's being spread. Because in my opinion, this is not after the revolution. This is, like, during the revolution to me. Like, there's been no resolve, no resolution in any type of way for any of these factions and stuff like that. So I don't understand how it's after the revolution, and even whatever the revolution was, it wasn't very clearly mentioned what had happened within that. We just know that there was fighting, and then everyone split off to their own factions.
Right, because we didn't really get anything about what potentially happened during the revolution until I think the last chapter, which the last chapter, I don't know why it's structured the way it is. I don't know if it was the serial and Robert Evans didn't know how to like wrap it up and just leave it to one point of view. It's the only chapter where you're having these
Oh
constant
yeah.
mid page splits of point of views for seemingly no reason. In my books, no
Yeah, why
reason because
wouldn't
it
you
didn't make any sense.
just
But
split
there
it
was
back
like
into
this, what was it about
chapters?
Roland where he was having these flashbacks
Yeah.
about how, what was it that they were, it was Topaz, Skullfucker Mike, and they were coming up against like police officers, SWAT officers, and they were trying to get the bomb where it needed to go. So it sounded like they were trying to like blow up somewhere important to make sure that the revolution that they're having would be successful. And I'm assuming it was an anarchist. This is my only assumption. It's like maybe that's the reason why this is. It was an anarchist revolution and it wasn't organized by a proper Marxist Leninist vanguard that had been thoroughly principled.
Well, if the shoe
Yeah, you
fits.
know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know Robert Evans personally. I don't know what he believes. But does this book not kind of give you George Orwell vibes?
It's leaning a lot more like authoritarianism bad, which is it keeps happening. Why does this keep happening?
Yeah.
I
I got.
understand that you don't like it, but read On Authority by Frederick Ingalls. Like, I don't know, grow up. I'm just
Sorry,
kidding.
we
I'm
need
just kidding.
laws.
I'm just joking. But not really. You know what I mean? Like, because a revolution is
Just
like
kidding,
a
unless.
very authoritarian
It
thing to
must be a.
impose that kind of power that you are exerting as a working class people up against your oppressors. Like, there has to be authority to subjugate them, to get them to stop, and then also to keep them down, so they don't just come back up. Like, you can't just like stop them. Like, you have to restructure society. That requires a lot, and especially in the imperial core, like you're not going to be able to do that successfully without separating the country into a lot of smaller pieces, which perhaps that was the goal of this, or doing something like we've seen in the past. And I don't know. It's hard. I don't like want to. This is like where like it gets a little utopian, and I don't like to think this far. I think it would have been more impactful if it had just been like leading up to the revolution, like what we were seeing. But this
Yes.
just felt very bleak and desolate. I didn't feel very optimistic about
I
like,
thought
okay,
it
this
was
is
very
after the
nihilistic
revolution.
as well. Especially like the way that Roland's character is, which I understand he's supposed to be like struggling with PTSD and stuff like that. But like the entire time, like, they have to, like, beg him to help them so that more innocent people don't die. And then even Manny and Sasha, they're just, like, very nihilistic characters, and are just like, well, everything sucks, and that's the way that it is.
I know. I was like,
I'm
I
like,
was expecting there to be a lot more like solidarity.
you think there'd
That
be
was going to be
revolutionary
depicted.
optimism within this
I
story.
thought it was going to be more akin to maybe like the Dispossessed, where we were able to see like a society that is more like closely knit. I'm okay with there being internal like contradictions because that's just like the nature of humans. Like we're going to have different ideas and combat that. But like this is supposed to be 20 years after a revolution and it's still war torn and fucked like this. Are you serious? Like
There's no
I don't
Vanguard
think
Party.
this is doing anything good. I'm telling you.
There's not.
We're not anarchist, okay? Like I know you're listening to this, but like that's just we never said we were.
No.
I don't necessarily agree that that's the way forward. I'm okay with left wing coalition until we get there, but once we get there, I'm splitting. Like I know I've been reading. There's a way forward.
You can't just let these people run around willy-nilly.
This is just frustrating. I was frustrated the entire time I read it, and I feel like take a shot every time I say that, but I don't know of another word to describe like my inner turmoil while I was reading this and just expecting something to happen, and this like nothing fucking came to fruition. It's just about to show. I get it, like it's showing that the United States, like this is just not that far off. Like this society, like these fascists, how they're acting and how they're anti-science and all this, like no fucking shit.
Yeah, we see it, but
Oh my god,
it doesn't even have any like good social commentary to like discuss it even like in any way, shape, or form. Like it's just like
I know it's
like
just
there's no like
chapters.
there's literally nothing else
it.
like where there's no critique of it or anything, and like Sasha's critiques are not even very strong either. She's just like, well, I like to work and I don't want to have kids yet, so this does suck, you know? And I'm like, okay. Like there's a much
more.
I
get it. It's supposed to be showing her like being radicalized and how she's like a cult, and then you have Marigold who's like, "Yeah, girl, you're fucked," and she's like, "Ah, no," and then she realized, okay, like wait, she was right. And even before, like she's talking to like people, and they're talking about like, oh, the Marxist revolution. That was like the only indicator is that this was like a failed Marxist revolution that happened, which I fundamentally disagree with. If like this is
that it
what
would
you
be a
think is
failure.
gonna happen.
Yeah, right.
Would be a failure. This almost, I feel like I don't know enough about Robert Evans. Like, are you a communist? Are you an? I don't even know. I don't.
Are
know.
you
Maybe
just a liberal? He's like, this is why we don't have a revolution, because it just leads to war, and war is hell.
But I feel like off with so much promise.
I think that's what I'm saying. Like for this book, like you can get like the critiques of Fallout. Like Fallout is like left wing. I wouldn't say it's necessarily like communist in any way, but it definitely does like critique like the U.S. government and like corporatism and all of that stuff. Some major like issues that we do have in the United States. And I feel like it does a much more effective job at doing that than this book will do for anyone, because it's just like, this is just listing the facts. And I feel like somebody that is not very well versed in like political education picks this up, I feel like they're going to look at this and be like, they're not going to come away with any like positive thinking about like the left or like a Marxist revolution or how good it could be for our future. You know?
No, literally. That's where I'm confused.
So I don't even understand why people were recommending it to you.
I get it because like the politics, like it has.
But the thing is, I want to read something
like the politics are like they're good. Like I see it. Like I see what is happening, but it's the execution.
But I just, again, good politics don't make a good book. Like I think it just because it has this one aspect that you like about it does not make it a good book, nor should we even be recommending it to people. Like, recommend them Dungeon Crawler Carl. Like, people should be reading that instead of this.
I just, like, as somebody that has read Capital, I've read all of this shit. Like, I'm just trying to really articulate, like, my qualms with it, but it's just, it's not executed well. I'm trying to find. Oh, I found it. Where she was talking about the Marxist. Like, so where people were wondering. She's talking to Jonah, right? Jonah is like the guy that's supposed to be getting her out
Oh yes,
of the
the
American
Amphed.
Federation. He says, I grew up real patriotic, you understand. I love my country. I fought for it down south, but I also grew up with a Confederate flag on the back of my dad's truck. I wasn't on board with those Marxists who started the Civil War. So when the Governor Gallen had his referendum on the secession, well, that felt right. I was on board with the UCS back before it was even born. So it's like, it's a failed Marxist revolution. And I think that's really odd. And like
Yeah,
we could, I guess, have like discussion on like whether or not it was failed, but like obviously there
it.
isn't like a USSA. Where is it?
Yeah, where's the socialist at for real? Are they in California? Because we don't get
Is
to
that
see
what the
anything from
AMFED
them.
is supposed to be? But then we realize like, okay, well, AMFED is falling. So is the American
Yeah, and like
Federation
the Amphed was
where's
like
the Marxist?
funding like certain things because there was like that one section that in Roland's chapter or something where he was talking to them and they're like, "Oh, you wouldn't know about this because you live in the Amphed," and they kept most of the I don't know what I only highlighted this part, but it says the Amphed was the closest descendant of the old United States. They'd have kept most of the bad stuff out of history books. So it's as if the Amphed was still doing some type of war crimes or something, even though from Saucer's perspective, it's as if the Amphed doesn't really do anything.
See, this is what I'm saying. We need to read a book that is from a Marxist and see how it goes. I'm gonna read Gorky, and if Gorky like blows me away, what are we gonna do? Because this
What
is
the hell is
I'm
Gorky?
waiting. Gorky, Maxim Gorky, he was on the board for the USSR under Joseph Stalin for the like literature division. And he pushed for
Oh,
socialist realism, which was a specific type of literature. And he wrote a book called The Mother, and it's about a mom and her
I see
son.
it.
It's like a revolutionary. And people love it. People eat it up. And I think that might be my book. But however, I did read Dostoevsky, and if it reads anything like that, because I don't have a lot of reference for Russian literature outside
Well,
of
this one's way shorter than
Dostoevsky,
that. So this one's only
thank
285
God.
pages. So I don't think it'll be quite that extreme.
Whew.
But I don't know. This book is incredibly disappointing, but I also didn't come in with high hopes either. So you can ask Mariah. I was not looking forward to read this book. And looks like I was right. Bleh.
It was between, and like we're gonna read that. What was the other one? The Clay McLeod. Is that what his
Is
name
that
is? The Wake
the wake
Up,
up in something something?
something along those lines. They have like the TV
It's like wake up
looking
and open
eyes
your
or something,
eyes or something. Hold on, I'll
which I
check.
think we would have, and we probably will still end up reading and shit on because I've heard it's quite liberal.
Yeah, it's wake up and open your eyes.
And I think I need to be very particular. I am not appealing to purity politics because I can already see like it get this episode getting clipped. I don't know why, but me saying I don't know. I've just been on the internet a lot because we're like shitting on it for like some of the shit. But like it is like ideologically unbalanced. It's not consistent. It's not cohesive. So there these are valid criticisms to be made because this is like I don't know, like if I read this just for entertainment value, I didn't even find it all that entertaining.
Yeah,
I'm looking for stuff to recommend people so that they can build their class consciousness. This felt like anarchist fan fiction, which I guess could be fine,
if
but
that's
it
what you
wasn't fine
want.
for me. If that's what you're looking for, if that's what you're looking for, that's it. But I'm not gonna recommend this to like random fucking people. I'm not gonna say this radicalized me because it didn't. It didn't do anything. I don't have any emotional connection. Is it the Zoloft that's speaking here? I don't know.
I'm not on
But I
antidepressants, but
certainly
I didn't care.
I didn't have that and I was just really bummed. Okay, I was excited. I was excited to read this one because I didn't think it was gonna win and it did. And I was like, okay, now's my time to shine.
I've been praying for this one to
And my
not win.
heart's broken.
Yeah, and I will be honest, if I didn't read it with the audiobook, I probably would not have finished this.
I also read it with the audiobook, and I like the audiobook isn't bad. I really like didn't hate it. I didn't like the ads, but I did notice that if you did the 3 chapters combined into one,
Oh, they had
you
at the
didn't
very
have
bottom.
nearly
He
as many
had all
ads.
of them. At the bottom, he had the whole
Yeah.
thing, and it only did the ads like because they were split up into 3. It would only do the ads right before Manny's chapters, so there was even less ads on that one because I switched to that one
Oh
at the
my
end.
god.
Because I started doing the 3 chapters, and then I was like, hold on, let me see how many chapters I have left. And then I scrolled down, and then I saw it was like a 12-hour one. I was like, oh shit, I could just do this. And then, yeah, it only did one section of ads, which the ads were crazy. But I mean, like, get your bag, Robert Evans. I get it, but it was a lot.
I feel weird because I did start this by saying the politics are good. Like it is good. Like it's anti-U.S. imperialism. It's anti-capitalist.
The bars in hell.
Like it's very clear. Like Robert Evans, at least at the end of the day, is like a garden variety leftist, in my opinion. Like just run of the mill. Is this spectacular? Like obviously not. Like we've been talking about it for 48 minutes. It's not like I'm trying to like find positive things to extract. Like I liked how it talked about I think there was a line about Israel and like
there's a couple lines about Israel.
The different lines about different genocides that were happening, like references to like actual US history, and I think those should have been
the forefront.
Yeah, like
but because like that's what I'm saying. Even like comparing this, like it kind of gave me like Timu Changing All Stars. You know,
I wish it would have leaned more into that though, you know, because at least we could have
but
been
that's
like,
what I'm saying. Like I'd recommend
a
like
less good version, but like just read Chain Gang All Stars.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like don't even read
so
this. Like there's so many other books
book in my repertoire to add to like dystopian fiction. I'm not going to add this.
Like instead of reading this, like honestly, I think you would get more out of reading the Hunger Games than you would reading this. I don't know. Do you agree?
Fuck, that's like the thing is like you can't. The thing with like Suzanne Collins is like she
even though she's lived up
really well, she is lived up. But I think like it's there's like the populism works, and I do think that this should have had a little bit of an element of populism, at least in the American Federation or like throughout. Just like I'm oppressed in certain ways, but I don't feel like any of the characters, like Manny and Roland and Sasha, they like don't see any sort of oppression. Like Sasha like kind of like gets something,
only whenever she's
like,
in the Heavenly Kingdom.
Fixed. It's in the Heavenly Kingdom, but she's like, I don't like it here. Like I want to be part of like the good guys. Like you kind of see like this binary post. Manny just doesn't give a shit. Like he's like, I just want to go somewhere where I can like live,
not have to fight. Yeah,
I get that, but I don't feel
it doesn't make like you care about that character either. Because
there's
like
just
you don't
no substance to them, and I'm so sad because like they were, you know, like I feel. Like
I mean, I was not looking forward to this book the whole time, and then I started reading it. I was like, damn, this really does suck.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to the book club. You guys voted.
We're about to
it.
take away your right to democracy. Yeah, we're about to take it away. I'm about to start picking the books. At least the book I wanted to win this in December won, so that's all. I'm happy about that. That's what I get.
I mean, that's like it. That's all I have to say. Like the politics, like the underlying, like the things that are referenced politically, I suppose is how I should word it, are good. Like the way that they're referenced, talking about like U.S. imperialism, talking about different political things is good. It's just like the overall like plot, and it's not used as any sort of means of carrying the plot. The characters aren't doing anything. They're kind of just. I feel like they're kind of almost passive.
Yes,
I feel like they lacked agency. They weren't doing things on their
Sasha
own. Sasha
only had agency really whenever she wanted to go to the Heavenly Kingdom, and then she lost that once she got there. Because I do think like. I almost think the beginning of the book was stronger than the ending of the book, too.
100%. Like, it really did start off like, okay, we got some stuff going on. Things are happening, and it seemed cool, and then
it all, like, falls apart. Like, once they all get in the Heavenly Kingdom, it's like...
It almost seems like, I don't know if it was planned, like the book itself was planned, or if it was just something like he was writing as he went, and he was just like, right, I'm gonna do this point of view, then next week I'm gonna do the next point of view, and this is happening, because sometimes it just they don't mesh well, and I don't know, it's just not for me. 'Tis a bummer. We read a lot of dystopian science fiction this year, and this is probably one of my least favorites. This may be my least favorite, unfortunately.
Yeah, we actually did do a lot of like dystopian science
Actually,
fiction.
no, that would be a lie. I do
No,
still think that
the planet, Small Angry
the
Planet.
yeah, that one might be a step below this. I still am mad about that book. People recommend it all the time, and I just don't get it. And this one people also recommend, and at least I kind of get it, but I still don't get it.
Well, I guess I don't know if we really have anything to say. I mean, I feel like we're probably a lot harsher on this book than what we really mean to be, but I think it's whenever something is recommended to us to be like, oh, this is left wing, this is life changing, you come into it with much higher expectations too, and then you end up falling so much harder. Which, I mean, you can blame us, I guess, for having higher expectations, but I feel like the other left wing people that are recommending this
to do more. Like, look at what we have to like. Here's the thing. Here, you guys didn't lock the fuck in if you're writing books. Look at like the counter-revolutionary shit that gets posted. Like, the Republicans eat this shit up because like the characters, they can relate to them. Like, you have to have that element in your book. You have
look
to.
at Dungeon
You
Crawler
can't
Carl.
escape from it. Dungeon Crawler Carl is like
a
the
perfect
example of a book that kind of pulled the rug out from people like halfway through the book, without them even realizing it until like the third book was along. They're like, oh my god, why is this book so political?
Yeah.
Like, that is whether or not you agree or disagree with that strategy, I think it's funny as fuck, and then people are so invested they just keep reading it.
Yeah, and then they learned something. And I think, and the thing is too, is that what this book tried to be so funny. Like, you could tell. He tried to be so funny. And I did not laugh once reading this. Listening to Dungeon Crawler Carl, I'd be laughing. Like, I'm telling you, I laugh out loud reading Dungeon Crawler Carl. This, I was just like rolling my eyes. Like, I was cringed out.
It had like like the elements of like a Discord, like, I don't know, like
it's like boomer humor.
It's really not good. Just the way he's like, oh, I gotta go kill some people, I guess. Look the other way, princess. I don't know. Like, it's just the way that it's
Princess.
always Roland, which I think is really weird because he's supposed to, like, he's a black man. And like the humor isn't there, and like he's doing all of these drugs, and he's got PTSD, and I thought that was weird. Like, why can't you do that to a white main character?
I mean, he was white for like half the book, technically.
That was like the whole other thing is like him changing faces, like that one movie Face Off.
I don't know. Well, because like,
Lord,
I don't know. It just felt like, and then too, like with a lot of like the science fiction tropes, because there's like the armored, like robot sort of things, and then like the like chromed up humans and stuff, like RoboCop-esque like designs and stuff. Like, it all felt like tired and worn out. Like, it didn't feel like it did anything new.
Yeah, there's nothing new to this. Do something fucking weird. I think the only thing that was weird that I was like genuinely like stupefied, and I wish they would have done more, was them implanting the brains of the people they didn't like, which was like in the Heavenly Kingdom, any of like the brown or black people that decided to come and seek asylum, and they put them in the drones. So that was crazy. Control the drones, and
then it wasn't going against God because it was an actual person.
Because they were. It was really weird. I was like, okay, that's something. Like,
but then there's no even commentary on it either. It's just like, here's something evil they do. That's it.
Yeah, tis a bummer. It is a big bummer. But what are you gonna do? Hopefully the next book we read is good. It's not. I mean, we are reading Parable of the Talents next month as well, and I hope people say this one is better than Parable of the Sower. So
better be.
I'm excited. I really hope so.
I mean, we like Parable of the Sower enough. Much better than this book. But I guess so that's what we're doing.
Oh, yeah. So our next episode is actually not a book review. Oh my god, we're going to talk about the Goodreads Choice Rewards because they're getting a lot of traction. They have some really odd options, and by the time that we're talking about it and whatnot in some of the books,
the results will be out.
Yes. What wins? Kamala Harris's 107 Days wins, I don't know.
I'll do what Roland did at the end of the last chapter. There you go. You have to read the book to know what that is.
Oh my god.
Anyways.
And then we'll be reviewing Parable of the Talents. And then the Raven
Scholar.
Whatever.
Raven
Scholar. That's it.
Then the year's over.
6, we will be posting on the very first of the year, our end of the year wrap up, and then we have some fun things in store. So you might be seeing.
Tune in the month of January.
Yes, I'm excited. So that's it. That's
keep
all
a lookout for all that.
Sorry.
Don't read this book. Don't recommend it to people. Stop commenting it on our.
Should we change our ratings? Because after we've talked about it, like the more
I hate it more.
I'm like, I think I should rate it a little bit lower.
I mean, I gave it 3.25 stars.
I think, I have it at a 3.5 right now. That was like immediately after, and I think I'm going to lower it to a 3.25 or a 3. Oops.
Yeah. Maybe 2.75. No, I'm just kidding. Anyways, but that's all from us for today. Thanks for listening. Don't forget, join the book club. You can read with us next month. We didn't really shit on this book in the chat because we try not to be Debbie Downers, but if y'all want us to start like bullying books in the chat if we hate them, we probably could. But other than that, thank you and good night.